I call them Spacewalk editions,
Oh,
where,
nice.
yeah, where I basically like I'll take a vocal, like I did one for Fake ID and I did one for a Martin Garrix track. I'll just take like the vocal and I'll build an entirely like I don't take any of the production, just the vocal, and I'll build an entire tune around that, and it'll be like my version of that song. And those have been the biggest success songs for me, like by far. You
Okay.
know, it's almost like the marriage of both. Like I can produce as much as I want over this, and it's got something that people know already on top, and like, you know what I
Did you
mean?
doing the live shows influence you more to see that clarity on that
Yes,
marriage
hundred
between like your
percent,
sound and like having to do the
100%.
remixes?
I would like, yeah, like I think that the DJing, when I started really DJing and playing shows and figuring out what works for people on the dance floor, that's when I really was like, I kind of like understood and was able to like bridge the gap between like how can I like make things like there's things that I make for my shows and there's my
Mm.
music that I put out that people enjoy, and
Like
I
streaming wise, like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
comfort of their own like
Yes,
car in their house and
100%.
shit. Because that's something that I noticed too. That I think first time like when I was trying to make my own music, I was like, yeah, like all this shit is definitely festival ready. Like this shit's festival ready. And
Totally.
then when you play it out, it's like, oh, okay, like people play it, but I don't think this is like maybe there's other better options to put like in my playlist versus like all my originals because I can see a lot of like a harsh reality where a lot of people want to do an all original set, thinking that maybe all their shit's festival ready or show ready. But sometimes it is definitely maybe better to tailor your set to where maybe like you still can include your sound and do like the additions of like popular songs so that way people can have that connection to it, bro.
Totally.
Like it's
I think like a lot with like doing that too cuz those are definitely like like doing flips or remixes, like those are definitely like things that you do to really like draw people in the set because it's a crowd pleaser and it's things that people recognize. But there's always like a way that you can like bridge that together where it's like the way that you're uniquely doing it. You know what I mean?
yeah, and it's cool that when you do the remixing as well, most times you know exactly the audience that you're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're remixing or doing an edition of a hip hop song, you're getting the hip hop audience, or you're opening that portal of the hip hop audience to check out your edition because they're attached to the OG, the original.
Totally.
Versus, when we talked about dubstep producers, you know, definitely having key factors of having those remixes being like driving forces of their brand growth. You see a lot of remixes from Latin remixes, rock remixes. Like it's just kind of everywhere, bro. That's something that I need to strengthen personally as an artist. Is like
Mm.
more remixes versus originals. Which I'm not complaining. I like to see. I always like to. I always like to see the sculpture of like my emotions and shit, like my true pure emotions of an original. Uh, and remixing, that's just something that I just need to get much more used to doing. And it's because I don't know, I just really love seeing like my pureness, like in music. I can only
Oh,
find that when I'm writing like originals versus remixes.
totally. But I also think like that, like there's a way, like there's also like music, like I mean, I'm a strong believer that like your taste in music and even your sound, it's a culmination of like things that like there was something that got you into this scene or songs that like are nostalgic for you and like the way that I approach remixes sometimes it's like how can I it's almost like a love letter to a song that really like got me into this scene. It's like how can I like put
Create
my
that same
spin on
effect to
this
somebody.
that's like and make it mine.
All right, that's really cool. I feel that same way. I feel like I have that impact. If I could be nostalgic about a song, a particular remix I could think of, bro. Yuna, the Adventure Club remix. You're my first love.
Yeah, yeah, dude.
Yeah, like something like that, bro. I think that's if I'm understanding. I
Oh,
think that's what you mean. Like just having that sort of like impact on somebody. We're like,
yeah,
damn, like a Spacewalk edition did that for me.
totally. And I'm not trying to like I know that like with some songs like the goal is not to like make something better than that song cuz ultimately you're not, especially if it's like such an amazingly like impactful tune. It's just like how can I like make this like mine, you know what I mean, to
Uh
a degree. Like it's almost like I don't know. I'm mostly remixing stuff. I'll do things here and there where I know like this song was really popular and it's had such a global effect. Like how can I like kind of make a version. How if I were to have made this song,
There you
like
go.
how would I have done it? You
See-
know, and that's what the Spacewalk editions are. You know what I mean?
So I do a lot of flips and like bootlegs because I have that same idea. I'm like, damn, I like these vocals, but let me reimagine. Like, let me be the one who made the beat while you were in the studio.
Yeah,
singing
totally.
The vocals.
What-
like, how would have that studio session turned out if I was there?
Yeah, if you
Oh
made
wow,
the beat.
never thought about that.
Yeah, so I'm always like ripping vocals and like just getting vocals from places, and I'm like, all right, and I do it a lot with a lot of hip hop vocals. I like the idea of like having hip hop artists collab with EDM artists because I don't know, that's best of both worlds for me. I'm really influenced by hip hop, and after listening to the vocals and then creating your own groove and then listening to it after, you're just like, fuck, like
Totally.
that was cool, that was fun, like, and then that also helped me to work in a studio with someone. I think like being able just to like listen to what their outcome is and then be like, okay, I can produce around this now. Like, I think that's a good skill to have. And I think that's a good way to practice that skill for sure.
Totally. And I mean, I don't know how nitty gritty we can go into the production here, but like, even if you take a vocal and completely change the key of it, you will write a completely different vibe just based off of the key that you're like switching into.
I feel that.
You know what
I know
mean?
you've done that shit before.
Yeah,
I feel that
just
shit.
pitch it up 2 semitones. It would be a completely different song than writing it in the same key that you got the stems in.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude. I do that shit all the time. Bro.
Mhm.
It's fun, man. I think, I don't know why, because I do that a lot more than I think write originals. But I think it's because like I just like starting off with an initial like idea in my head, I think. And then whereas when it comes to originals, like I have to sit down and I have to really not think, but like really put time and really like, I don't want to say emotion, like that's not what it is, but like I really got to think what I'm writing down. Like,
Totally.
and whereas if I just have vocals already, I'm just going by ear now. I'm just what sounds good.
Well, that's like part of the production like game in general. When when you do it for long enough, like I know when I first started making music, I actually was way more dubstep than I was like now. Like I feel like when you get into producing, you're really like crazy about sound design and like I'm gonna make sounds that like you know what I mean. That's like I mean personally for me, that's when I started getting into this shit. I was really like trying to get the sound design stuff and like make the craziest like you know.
You sound like you work on Ableton.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I actually started on Logic. I was on Logic
shit.
for like 3 or 4 years, and then I switched to Ableton 2 years ago.
Never looked back, huh?
Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know.
Let's hear it, bro. No,
Okay.
no, we love Ableton now.
Are we
too.
gonna get into the doll wars now?
Uh,
Yeah, we FL.
I fucked around with FL too for a bit.
Yeah, we FL gang in here, bro.
You know, FL's sick. ImageLine makes like amazing fucking plugins. I have it cracked into my Ableton.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah,
oh,
There
what
you
the
go.
fuck?
Yeah.
Nah, bro. You see,
I've got
I'm
I got
going
Harmer. I've got Vocadex. I was
Vocadex,
using what's the beat one? Fuck.
Gross beat.
No, there's another one that it's like got a grid and shit, and it'll like it's almost like
Oh,
a
and it has
remix
like sounds
tool.
like several effects,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
click the effect and like you could
Yeah.
point. You could like
Oh,
I get what you're saying. You could point.
Effector.
Yeah, effector. Yeah, it's like it's just pretty nice. It has like distortion. It has
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's a fact.
volume and shit. Real cool.
I use Harmer all the time, and
That's a nice thing,
Vocadex too. Like FL is sick. I just never like spent enough time with it like I have with like Logic or Ableton. I think it was just hard for me in general, just because it's more like pattern based
Yeah,
than the other DAWs.
for
Oh,
sure.
okay.
For sure.
There's definitely like a learning. It's like a whole different. It's like a whole different way of producing in a sense. But all of the people that I know are cracked to use FL Studio. So
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I think I like. It's crazy that I'm saying this right now, or I'm about to say this, but I think I like Ableton a little more than I'm liking FL. But just because on Ableton everything's in front of you, and then you're just searching things on like
yeah.
your search bar, and then I realized how like I've been watching so many fucking tutorials on it. I don't know why on Ableton for some reason. I mean, no, like I'm on my like feed on Instagram, and I always see production like tutorials, right? And they're all on fucking Ableton.
Oh,
So I'm just like, all right, well, let me see what it's about. And then I just see how they drag all their effects in and how it's just all on the bottom and that's it. And that's it. And I'm just like,
yeah, like
Yeah.
and then I think about how I have to produce and I'm just like, that's some bullshit, bro. Like, yeah, nah, bro.
I mean,
it's like, damn, they're taking the elevator, we're taking stairs. Bro. Like, so, yeah, that's why
We're climbing up these walls, dog. Like,
there's benefits to both, you know.
For sure. We're putting calories in FL Studio, fam.
For sure. Like, I know some shit, bro. Like, I don't necessarily need to know, but I know it now.
Hey, fuck it. Hey, just because Record Box company just did buy out Serato. Hey, how would you guys feel about Ableton company buying out FL Studio? Can you
do it, bro.
Do it, please.
Can you see some shit happening like that?
I would
right
love
now?
for that to happen
Soon, like in our lifetime.
Maybe in our lifetime, yeah. Because I don't know how much FL is really making.
Yeah, because I was saying, would it be Ableton buying out FL? Because they're the two biggest reasonable like competitors, right? Music production wise.
So who are they owned by? You got to think.
I'm not sure who it is.
Isn't it?
Ableton is owned by.
I don't know either.
I
know that Bitwig. You guys know what Bitwig is?
Yeah,
it's like another DAW. I know Bitwig was like a team that was a part of Ableton that like wasn't fucking with Ableton anymore, and then they went and made Bitwig. They were like people that worked there and then like made Bitwig.
Yeah.
But
because I'm pretty sure it's not just Ableton standalone. I'm pretty sure like are they Native Instrument? Like
they might be. They might be.
I think they might be Native Instrument.
I know Native Instruments just bought out Isotope.
Oh shit!
Oh, it's getting real, bro. It's getting hella real now.
I know.
But yeah, so like whoever owns FL, I mean, I'm pretty sure, bro. Like if Ableton gave like a good offer to FL, I'm pretty sure they'd do it. Like, I don't see why not. And you know, it would make my decision a lot easier just to switch over to Ableton. You know, like
okay, I can see that. I can see myself doing that too, bro. Like, I mean, how do we feel about the whole Record Box and Serato thing, bro? Like, can we see ourselves using Serato program to analyze our files for USBs, or do we see Record Box being just the only DJ program and Serato is just fucking canceled?
I mean, personally, I'm down for it because I've pulled up to functions and then it's Serato, and then I gotta drag my music from a folder on my fucking shit and drag it into the thing. So now that they're like, I'm hoping the first shit that comes is like we can play on anything.
The integration.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Bro, I'll take it a step further. Well, when you show up and it's a Serato and you don't trust your USB enough to run off of it, so you drag their folder onto their desktop and then into the fucking...
That's what I'm talking about. I played something recently where I was doing that, where I pulled up to the homie's function. He was like, we should spin a couple of your unreleased tracks. And I was like, okay. I'm on his fucking computer, like dragging shit out of folders in the Record Box folder off my USB, you know?
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, that's the worst feeling.
No, you know, I didn't realize that you could do that though. Like if you're somewhere and you want to play on Serato, and your USB is just strictly like Record Box info data, you can pull up Record Box, you go to your playlist, you can drag that playlist into the Serato crate as if like you had an actual folder on your USB.
Oh shit, I didn't even know that. You could just
go into the file. Well, okay, you probably won't get your whole playlist, but you could just go into your USB files and then go to the Pioneer file plate and just drag
doing
that
it manually.
Folder. Yeah, drag that folder into Serato and it'll pop up. And that's the way to go.
Oh shit, I didn't even know that.
I had no clue either. I've just been dragging shit off the Record Box folders into it.
Yeah. What's it called? I don't know. I would rather spin on Serato. I'd rather spin on Serato.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to choose, I'm down to spin on Serato because
it's just first nature to me. Like it's what I started. Not what I started off virtual, but after like, you know, Serato was the thing, and I don't know. It's just, I think that's what is like almost standard to me. Like it's like riding a bike. That was my first bike, you know.
Yeah,
like,
totally. I started on Serato too. I'm more like in the vein of like, if I don't have to use a computer, I'm stoked. And that's just purely off of me playing gigs and having fuck ups with the computer being there. Mainly like, just like, I'm worried about like the computer getting fucked up, like somebody pouring a drink. I played a gig once where this dude was like barred out and went head first into my homie's computer that had all of our shit on it.
Bro,
And after that gig, I was like, I'm never bringing my computer to any gigs again.
and that's why Rekordbox is appealing, because with the technology, all you really need to do is insert your USB, and you don't have to worry about it like being in such a crazy expense if it gets broken or if there's damage. Because that was one of the biggest things I didn't like about DJing with a laptop, is having to worry about, like, I have it on me, and like sometimes you just didn't want to have it on you, but like, you know, you're worried about it like not getting damaged or getting stolen, and like having the USB, I don't know, it's just much more like I can fit that shit in my pocket. I don't have to like make it present to others that I have it on me. Like when you're wearing a backpack, like, okay, I forgot a laptop. Get that for when he's leaving party. You know?
I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. We're not even going to be using USBs in the next like 3 years. So
we're going to be using mine.
Did you see the Beatport now? They dropped some integration where like now you just sign, if you have like a Beatport Premiere account, you can just sign into an account. And it just has your music in a fucking folder. Like you sign in on the CDJ, like type shit. It was something like that. Yeah. We're gonna be showing up to gigs. You just show up and you log in on the fucking thing, and your shit's there.
Bro, well they're doing it. I think I've expressed this before in previous podcast episodes, and I've actually used this feature where on Rekordbox, if you have a BeatSource membership, that's like their bread and butter. Is just their streaming library. It's like they made it accessible for DJs to get an account with them, and it's not bad. Honestly, for a first time DJ, like if you want to just like DJ that way, the only thing is that you have to be connected to the internet with this kind of DJing. But no, bro, this is very present right now. This kind of integration where you're now getting your music to like a cloud subscription.
Totally.
Yeah, and
I don't
crazy.
Like. It's a cool idea, but you don't get to set any cue points or anything on any of your music.
I mean, it'll be so easy for that to be integrated, and
it saves. It saves. Because the record, because the beat, not because.
But okay, that's dope. I would only like it though if, like I said, if it's the Serato interface, because if I have to go through the whole, this is what I hate about Rekordbox, bro. Why can't y'all get your grid right, bro? Like Serato does it with ease, bro. With fucking ease. And with Rekordbox, I can never trust it. I gotta always set my shit up. Like
I agree with you. If there's any kind of like tempo change in the song, the grid, like even if you manually do it, it can't do it. I'm like trying to figure that out right now because I got a gig coming up and there's a couple songs where like the tempo changes in the breakdown. You know, like it's almost like part of the idea of the song. I would say, like, you know that I don't know if you guys have heard it, that Kyle Watson song, the Gas Pedal remix. Gas Pedal, Gas. I don't know if you've heard it, but like in the breakdown, like there's definitely like an automation when he was making it where the song's at like 128 and then he automated it to go down to like 70 or 60 and then it builds back up and goes back to the original tempo. If you run tracks through Rekordbox and like there's tempo changes, like there's no fucking way you get in the grid correctly. Like the only way you're going to mix those songs is like by ear, you know?
I don't know. Rekordbox I don't know why they haven't figured it out yet. I don't know if that's something that maybe Serato has a patent on or some bullshit, but like it's been years. Dude,
I don't even update my Rekordbox. I'm still running fucking Rekordbox 6.
Oh my god! Bro.
Every time I update shit, it fucks up. I go right back.
You know what? Maybe I should shut the fuck up then. Maybe fix it. And like, I just haven't updated my fucking Rekordbox.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid to update. I don't even update my plugins. I'm like, nah, I'm afraid.
Bro, I'm not updating my FL for shit. You got me fucked up. I'm gonna have to reinstall all my No.
Damn, bro. Imagine one of those DJ streaming services. Like you're doing a gig and it has to update. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Like you don't even know like the new grounds that shit comes with. Like imagine that shit has to be like, oh, you have to update now. You have to update your Rekordbox to use this.
The show's about to start in like 15 minutes and it just starts updating on itself.
Dude, I'm fucking. It's not even just the software. I'm like, you seen that V10 mixer that everybody's like using, or not everybody? The
10-channel mixer or 6-channel. Yeah.
I like put on my rider like, please don't make me figure out how to use this like 10 minutes before my fucking, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
so you get sound check pretty much.
Yeah, every now and then I get a tech rider, and like you know, most of the gigs, like when they're bigger ones, I'm always afraid that it's going to be like, I don't have a problem playing on the 3000s. Those are pretty simple to use, but like I've been looking at that mixer and I know like one day I'm going to have to face that thing and it's going to be like figure it out 10 minutes
Nah,
before.
you got this, bro. You got this.
No, totally.
I
But
mean,
like,
yeah, it's just more channels, right? What, how hard, you know, what more can it?
I don't know. I was for the Dior one. I was terrified that I was gonna have to play on that because like I've been seeing all the Insomniac gigs have like the full fucking setup, and I was looking at it and it's got all kinds of shit that like I've never seen before.
Because it was an Insomniac show, huh?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it's got like sends on it. The effects are sends now, like kind of like on a normal channel mixer. If you were working in like an engineer studio,
Yeah.
like your effects are sends. So like those are extra steps, and I don't know how the fuck that works.
So
It's got like compressors built into each channel, so you can
Nah.
like
Seen that shit, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gnarly. I'm like, I gotta read the manual before I pull up to the fucking show.
that's a mixer. That's that's not a DJ mixer. That's a mixer.
I want to learn it at some point, but like, I don't have 10 grand to fucking. And I don't. They don't have a good guitar center for me to.
Those
fuck
are
around
humbling
with.
experiences, bro. 'Cause, you know, I feel like there's like that pattern of being a DJ and being used to what you use, and then you're thrown into some new hardware. It's like, oh damn, okay,
Oh yeah.
yeah, okay. Now you got me doing more than just pressing play. Bet. All right, we're gonna try to
Totally.
figure some shit.
And then like, I mean, we've all been there. I pulled up to a gig once where I was like, I played on the fucking Pioneer, like not the Nexus. It was like the one before the Nexus.
the 1000s.
Yeah,
Bro.
where like it's got the SoundCloud like waveform. You can't zoom in; it's just a waveform.
Jeez.
Like, you don't have the sync button to save you, so you're just like hoping, like, you know,
Fucking
I
A.
better fucking beat match this correctly.
Yeah, nah. Me and homie went back to back this past weekend, and I had to run on the 1000. It's crazy. We had 3 decks, bro. We had 3 decks. We had 2000s,
Yeah, and then one XDJ to the left.
and then we had one X, just a 1000. Homie's playing on both the fucking 2000s, and I'm on the 1000. I'm like, damn, I got this. I mean, I wasn't shit, but I'm just like, you ain't making this easy for me, my guy.
I don't even know why I was doing that shit.
But I didn't realize it until maybe like 20, 30 minutes in. I'm just like, wait, we got 2 of them? Like, I'm just thinking like we only have those 2 decks and shit. And I'm just like,
No, but you know, I want to be more exposed to that shit, bro, because like I would like to get to a point in my DJ performance where I would like to have mixing opportunities to get an acapella and blend it into a track,
Totally.
and then do like a double drop. Like that's what those kinds of opportunities are presentable when you have a 3 CDJ or 4 CDJ setup. I mean, just like the mashup potential and like the mixing opportunity is just ridiculous.
you know what I could see that setup for? For that mixer specifically, that would be a good setup for the Serato Stems program that they have out. You know, to incorporate now that Pioneer fucking bought that shit out. Like, I could see that happening now. Like, I don't know. Have you guys used the Serato Stems plugin?
No, I've like sometimes I'll download. Beatport has like DJ tool section where you can like download stuff that's like just isolated parts of shit.
Yeah.
But that's sick. I gotta check that out, honestly.
Yeah, Serato Stems pretty much do that for you. Like, you get to isolate all the parts. And I know they're starting to integrate it in some of their DJ controllers.
Dude.
So I think I could already see Pioneer starting to look at that and be like, let's integrate
I mean,
it.
that's why they bought that shit. Totally.
Yeah, I could see it
Damn,
now.
you know what?
Yeah,
now I'm starting to
that's the
see
play,
why
right?
Rick.
You
Now
know-
fuck yeah, it's a play. Like getting that technology, bro. Because look, imagine pulling up on a controller and like you see a button that says vocal. Vocal. What the fuck does this do? And then now you're hearing the acapella of the track.
And now you
here.
can compress it. Bro,
There you go.
bro
And
fuck out of here, dog.
I mean, not you've always been able to do this, but hey, I'm gonna put flanger on this too, bro. Like fuck
Yeah,
it.
totally.
He said totally.
yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, bro. Did you go through several rebrands before getting to Spacewalk, or did you land on Spacewalk?
And
the
how
first
did
one?
you land on space?
Okay.
Yeah, true. Hey.
I went on. I started out. I mean, I've been like Spacewalk the longest that I've been other projects. When I first started making music, I had like a pretty like, you know, generic, like, I don't know. It wasn't generic, but when I started DJing, I used to go by like Cuffs, but that was just like my high school and like learning to produce days. And then when I really started getting into it like 5 or 6 years ago, I've been like Spacewalk since then. And how I got to Spacewalk, I've always been like really into like I really like sci-fi stuff, like sci-fi horror and like space stuff. Um,
Oh, like Rick and Morty and shit. Yeah.
Like Spock and all.
no, like more like you guys ever seen the movie like Alien?
Yeah.
That's
Oh.
like my favorite movie.
Oh, hell yeah, for sure.
I love like science fiction and shit like that. But I also like Spacewalk also kind of like comes down to an ideology, kind of like something, just kind of like a personal ideology that I live by, which is like, I mean, we're all like kind of on a planet right now and space is moving, you know what I mean? Ever expanding. So like, it's kind of like an homage to just like a current situation, you know what I mean? Which is like our space is always expanding and we're on this planet. We're basically like a spacewalk,
Spacewalking.
if that makes sense.
Oh.
But I would also say that like my music sounds very like, I don't know, it's very atmospheric and like cerebral, if that makes sense. And I just felt that the name fit very well with like the sound that I curate to a degree.
Okay. I feel it. No, so when I think sci-fi, I think crazy sounds. I think like very like just outer world experience, pretty much like things you don't get here. You feel me? So that's kind of like the sounds you go for, I'd say.
Totally. I mean, I would say like, I don't know, my idea, like my music changes, you know, every, like I go through like stages. I would say like, you know, I was talking about it before when I first started making music. It was really about like what's the craziest shit I can make, or how can I like, you know, do as much as I possibly can. And I would say that like as I've been producing long enough and like really honing it in, I've like more stripped back my sound. I would say like a lot of the music is very like centered around just like really simple, you know, simple drums, simple riffs, like things that can really you know, captivate you. And I don't know if that's just from like producing for a while and like, you know, figuring out what really like captures people, or I don't know.
I think because I have a similar like experience almost, but I feel like I'm still in the I want to make everything crazy and I need to strap shit back, right? But I think it comes from like after trying to pack out your tracks with so many ideas, and then you listen to it back and you hear a lot of good ideas in your track, right? But then you're just like, is this too much? And then you'll play it and it's not even like something that's like danceable or like vibeable, really. It's just cool ideas in one track. You really like think about it and like, okay, let's just take this idea. Let's simplify it. Not simplify it, but just make this the idea instead of having all these multiple ideas around it, you know?
Totally.
And then,
oh no, keep going.
and then you want to like also make it enjoyable, listenable. And sometimes when you add in too much crazy sound design, like it kind of takes people out of just listening to enjoyable music, I think. And that's what I think producers sometimes need to get out of.
Totally.
Bit.
Well, I think that it's also like I try to look when I'm making tracks now, I try to like really like simplify it to the degree. And what I mean by simplify is it's not that like in terms of like, oh, like making the craziest sounds. It's more like just trying to hone in on the idea of the track and like really fucking like execute it properly. Like I would say like if we're talking about dubstep, like you know that like everything with dubstep is like flow. It's sound design, but it's mostly like flow and like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And rhythm. And it's the same with house music, is all about like groove, like really understanding like what you're making and the genre and like figuring out how you can like really get like, you know, spin that.
Let me ask you, both of you guys actually, what do you think is like one of, to you, the important process of production when it comes to producing? Like what aspect of that do you think creates the track?
Personally, me, it's the drums.
It's the drums for you?
But that, yeah, I mean, I would say like from my experience, like I think that like all dance music is entirely about drums and like, you know, having like your drums need to slap. Otherwise, like it's really difficult to like you have an amazing idea, but if your drums are like way in the back or like they're not loud enough, like that's what's getting you to move, you know, that rhythm.
Yeah, the structure of the track I think is very important. Because you could definitely grab a vocal and it could be a nice vocal, but I think like the layering behind that vocal and the drums like a big major factor in dance music. Drums, give a really impactful contribution to rhythm. And then you factor in percussions in certain genres too. Hi hats is a big thing that's used. Snares is something that big used. Claps and house music is something that's used a lot. And I mean, if we're talking about like the creative process, like yeah, I don't know. Like I think you're right. I think the drums and the instrumentation of it, I think is one of the most important parts. Um, like I'm not too sure. I'd have to think about that a little bit more. I don't, I'm not, I've never really analyzed it like that to where what I'm considering is like important. Like I've never really thought about that. Like what section of my production or like my workflow is like a really impacting part like on production. Like that's something I guess I just need to like look out for because when I'm writing, I'm just like writing the shit out and I'm not really like taking in mind like if what I'm doing right now is like a significant moment in production, right? Like an important segment in production where like I shouldn't like for sure lag or whatnot. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but drums, I think like the instrumentation is very I think important. Yeah.
Totally. I mean, I would say like, I mean, it is dance music, and at the end of the day, we're trying to make people dance, you know. And I think that like the most impactful part of it would be like the way you're gonna hear the rhythm is from the drums. And I mean, I don't know, like that's just speaking from my experience. Like I know that house music is entirely about rhythm and groove, and all if you think about production, like rhythm and groove is entirely, the drums. You need that backbone, that metronome to really bob your
And
head.
some sort of bass, bro. I think, yeah, just some
So
sort
That's
of
true.
bass. Like,
That's
yeah,
true.
just some
Yeah.
sort
The
of bass.
bass line
A
needs to
bass
be.
line, a bass,
Yeah.
a bass, a hit, a stab. But I think like the bass is what I think. It's like the origin of dance music, bro. I listen to a lot of tracks. I'm like, damn, like it has some sort of bass line or has like an attracting low end factor to it.
Totally. Totally.
I think I definitely think you guys are right. Like drums, right, and the bass. I think to me when it comes to the important part, when it comes to even starting my productions, it's choosing those drums. It's choosing what sub, what bass I'm gonna be using.
That's very
Because
important.
one bad element could really just throw your track off, or could really throw off like the progression of your track. Because say you just you find a snare or like a kick or something, right? You like it. It's not the best, but you like it, and you're thinking, okay, well, in these next processes, I'll just make it sound better, and then you're filling in around that. But then when you come down to it at the end of the process, you're just like, yeah, there's something holding this track back, and I think it was that kick, and then you go try to change the kick, and now it's like there's something off because you kind of created like everything around that initial click or kick or whatever.
And the initial adjustment too.
Exactly. So now the time for the compression on everything is off, like for the side chaining is off, and now even like that kick maybe isn't even in the same key. It could be in a different key, but it does sound better, but now it doesn't fit with some shit that you put in. So I think when choosing what you're putting in your track, I think to me, I'm starting to realize that's like really important, because even say you put in a sub and you have like the dopest like structure, like drum structure and everything like that, but that sub doesn't fit in like how it's supposed to fit. I feel like that'll just throw off like your whole track, like the whole idea.
Totally.
So I think just picking the right elements to the track is probably to me what I find super important. What I'm finding more important right now. I don't know why, but like I think it's something where it's like I always want to just fit so many cool shit in, but like it doesn't fit, and I need to learn to just. It's okay, like just keep going with that shit.
Totally. Well, I mean, there's always like different aspects to explore. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, not just. I guess I get stuck on one thing, and I'm just like, no, I need everything to sound good with this. But
No, I think you should definitely be very picky when it comes to choosing samples. Like there's a lot of samples now to choose from, man. I think nowadays it just makes much more sense now in terms of workflow to get to a different sample and then just like use it as is from the get go. Like, yeah, I think like when you're in that process of like the song's already structured around that addition and the adjustment, and then now like having to substitute it with something now different, and then now you're having to now make the adjustments with like now your fully structured track. Like it's a, I mean, you could do it, but it's just kind of that's like some of the things that comes that's like the frustrating part of production. It's like, oh damn, like I did this, now I gotta. It's like when you're driving on the freeway and you take the wrong turn. Like, damn, now I gotta get back on this other like. I gotta reroute now. I gotta add more minutes to my fucking like production and shit. Like, nah, I feel you on that. Like, I think having, and that's why I think I've said this in previous podcasts. I think investing in a really great sample library is very important. And also too, like, if you don't really need to have all those samples, like I think, and then we talked about this. I think this is why Splice is successful. Like, you're able to choose like your specific sample and not having to download the full pack. Maybe you don't want to get all those samples. You just want to get that specific cymbal or that specific snare.
Totally.
No, bro, for sure. Like it's very important. Like your decision making on samples and your production is key. Like, yeah, no, I'm glad you expressed that because like I definitely noticed that. I acknowledge that for sure. Like sampling. It's just you learn that like for sure in production. Like okay, like and we all have our favorite samples, no doubt about it. Like I don't know about y'all. And a lot of my productions, you could probably there's probably like notable like kicks and snares and certain things that like I'm just like my go to. Like it does the work and no for sure, bro. Like yeah, hell yeah.
Well, let me ask you
Sampling.
this: are you guys like? Are you guys like more into like sampling or like doing like synth stuff? I feel like there's two different producers that I always meet. There's always like there are people that are like amazing like samplers, can like flip samples or like use shit in like crazy ways, and then there's guys that like make everything from scratch. You know,
I'll tell you this, bro. I'm not spending my time right now engineering a synth, dog.
Yeah,
Like I'm downloading preset packs and I'm gonna just go from there.
totally.
That's the producer that I am. Like I'm owning in on that kind of style of producing. I'm not like the crazy talented like sound designers that like own in on like, oh yeah, like I just made this shit from scratch. And like, dude, that's like fucking crazy. Like I definitely could spend some time to do that, but no, bro, like my workflow right now requires just for me to just get certain preset packs, and then like if I want to tweak it, I'll tweak it. But like I don't think I want to right now in this like stage of my like music career. I don't think I want to invest in sound design like crazy like that.
No,
but
totally.
but I think it's a very great skill to have as a producer, just to make some shit like that. Like you understand like how the synthesis and shit like that works. Like it's just
well, I don't think there's like any like I think that like all of it is great, and there's ways to like really like I'll tell you this: a lot of my friends that are like producers, like that I grew up with and produce music with, are like they're like very like sample based, and they'll flip. Like I'll tell you, like I'm like the kind of producer where like I'm like totally like a nerd about like using synths and like making shit, but then I'll have my friends who like primarily work in like hip hop and like funk, or like not even that. They'll make like crazy dance tunes, and they will flip samples in ways that like I never would have even thought of. Like they do like the craziest shit with just like taking shit off YouTube or like sampling stuff. They'll like even like use splice samples and like do shit in ways that like I just I never even would have thought it.
yeah, I think there's an advantage from both sides. I kind of fit in the middle of that because I do like making like my own sounds. Like I like sound design a lot, but I also like this. I mean, I guess this is like the same thing, but I do like working with audio samples. Like,
oh yeah,
the most. I just, as much as I love just making the initial sound on like Serum or whatever, like if I don't see the audio waveform, like I kind of like it messes with my head a little. So like I'll initially write everything right, and I'll have like MIDI and everything, and then I'll stem everything out.
yeah, and Ableton and be freezing tracks, right?
Yeah. I can't really.
Oh, they
do
don't
that.
have freeze on FL?
On the newest update of FL, they do.
Okay.
How come you can't get the newest update? Or do you have the newest update or what? What happened? What's good? Hey, true.
Look,
We're in the
okay,
hot seat
okay.
now.
So this is the honest truth. My shit's bought for, but it's not my account that it's bought from.
Okay.
And the person that gave me the copy of this, I no longer speak to. I'm pretty much stuck with this version.
You just gotta text him real quick, be like, "Hey, bro, let me get the update real quick."
Nothing personal.
Yeah.
Nothing personal.
Yeah, even if it was personal, be like, "All right, hold up, like, put this shit to the side. Let me get the update really quick, and then we go from there." No.
Remember what I did for you in 08?
Yeah.
Bitch, what the fuck? Bitch.
Yeah, true. That's what I gotta do. But no. So like that's where I'm kind of at. But honestly, like when I started making like EDM, I just like making synths. There's some times where I'll just hop on. If there's times where I know like I don't have time to sit down and like make a structured track or like work on something and really like put my whole attention onto it, I'll just open the DAW and I'll just open Serum and start making some basses and some shit just to be like, okay, this sounds cool. Or like when I really want to be like tweaker about it or want to like make something sound different, I'll be like, all right, fuck it, I don't mind spending a few hours on just a sound or some shit like that.
You
like,
guys have like any plugins that you're like crazy about, like every fucking time?
That's crazy.
Well, go ahead.
It's crazy. Yes, I usually ask everyone here that same question. So
yeah, no, I'm real like I go crazy into the production talk. I'm a real fiend with that shit.
Honestly, like I don't really have like a crazy like plugin that I use. I think like the FL stock plugins that I use, I'm very satisfied with because my production style, like for sure, like my recent catalog has been relying a lot on like delays and like chorus, reverb, and like a lot of that stuff that like my production has been like, coming out to be like, it all has been a lot of it through like the FL Studio plugins. So like I'll give you an example, like Gross Beat. I mean, now you don't get it with FL Studio, but like it was like FL Studio. Like I consider it like a stock plugin that comes with FL Studio. I use a lot of my stuff like using Gross Beat, so like a lot of like automating, like echoing and like voices. I mean, nothing too crazy. I mean, I used to just say sausage fattener, bro, but I'm kind of just I don't really use that
one's
no more.
fire too. I mean, I'll give a big shout out to you guys use Rift at all? Or you heard of Rift?
I heard of Rift. That's the one that has multiple.
Yeah, it's like a multi-band distortion. If you're making bass music or any kind of like crazy sound design shit, like Minimal Audio, all those guys, Rift. They have this other one called Cluster Delay. They're really cheap plugins and really fucking dope. Like completely changed my music from using that shit. You should totally like you know download the free trial or fucking get it. Like telling you like. I've always got like a list of shit that I'm like a real plugin junkie.
Bro, I got you on plugins after.
Okay, cool. I'm a real plugin junkie.
Bro, I'm gonna give you some shit tonight, and you're not gonna sleep, dog.
All right, perfect.
I'm gonna hook you up, dude. Trust.
All right, I'm down with it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, check that shit out. Shout out Minimal Audio.
It's crazy because the fact that you do like have a lot of VSTs and what I didn't realize how important that was, especially in bass music. Until recently, I seen I want to say Infect do like a little tutorial of like the shit he uses, and none of the shit he was using was natural to Ableton or like whatever DAW.
Oh
he was
yeah,
using.
bro.
And I was like, dog, like I'm just like trying to figure this out on just these fucking plugins. Well, don't get me wrong, I did have a lot of other plugins and shit, but like. How do you even like know about these plugins? Like, you know, unless you see someone else use them.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I watch a ton of production streams. Usually, like, I'll watch shit just to get me into the mood of making music. Like, I'll literally like pull up on YouTube and look some shit up, and it'll get me into the mood of like, all right, I'm gonna open Ableton and like do shit. Just watching other people do stuff. It's like I don't know, that's just me maybe, but like, I don't know.
No, I mean, it's like for some people, like for example, like watching a Gary Vee motivational video, like activates them to be like, all right, I'm in hustle mode now. Like,
yeah, totally.
Time to make my bed, right? Like type shit.
I gotta listen to a banger, and then like something that just doesn't make sense to me, and then I'll be like, all right, nah, fuck that. I can't let this person do that, and I'm not doing that. And then I'll just Yeah, that's what kind of inspires me.
Well, going to festivals like was a big motivation and boost to like just open up the fucking DAW, bro. I remember always just going to EDC or like something like a nocturnal or a show, and then just going back home like, fuck, I don't even want to go to sleep. Like, I need to like,
Yeah,
I just heard some shit at this festival, and like, I'm lacking. Like, I fuck, like I gotta like, it's like I don't know,
totally,
it's fuck humbling, bro. Like, I don't
totally.
know.
And you're there, and you're seeing like the shit that you want to do like right in front of you. So you're like,
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're there like seeing like what you want to do like at its rawest form.
yeah,
Like to the most professional level. If we're talking festivals, like the one that I've gone to, like EDC. Uh, dude, I mean that's real tight that you got to play Insomniac. And then also with music releases, you've done a lot of cool
Oh, yeah,
label
dude.
releases with like Gold Digger and all these
Yeah.
like cool ass
I've been on
features, dude.
Space Yacht, Gold Digger,
Sheesh.
House Views. What else? I've been on a bunch, man.
Son
Jadu
of, bro.
Dalla.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, Jadu Dalla, bro.
yeah.
That's one that's like yeah.
They're awesome, man.
sick.
I love them.
Like even if we're talking about Jadu Dalla, like yesterday, I'll even let you guys know what's going on. Like I'm currently right now like in the process of shopping like labels for my current EP for a re-release, and Jadu Dalla was like one of the labels I was like thinking
That's
in mind.
sick,
I'm like,
dude.
damn, bro, like I think I would like to do a re-release like for this EP with them. And nah, bro, it's real dope that you did a re-release with them because yeah, bro, they really put on for like underground artists. And I mean, I'll say the other labels too, but Jadu Dalla, like it's I keep an eye out there for them for
Yeah,
every
dude.
release.
They've been around for a minute, and they're also like a very multi-genre label. And the guys that run that label, like Nathaniel and Jesse, like they're really fucking cool people. Like, and they put on a lot for the underground. They threw a show last year in LA, like under a fucking it was under a freeway. It was like a show with
shit.
Space Yacht. They had Serato come out and play. It was really cool.
Oh.
They're also just like genuinely really cool dudes that like give a fuck about the music and the brand, like, and really trying to like help people and put them on. Like I've worked with labels before where like you're kind of like next on the assembly line, and then next week
Right, I get
we're
you
on to the
saying.
next release. But I would say specifically like Jadu Dalla and like the team behind them are like people. They really like give a fuck about like the song that they're signing, and like the artist behind it. When I had my first release with them, I used to go by Spacewalk, and I had a period at the end. And I remember like Nathaniel was like giving me a bunch of like career advice, because this was, I would arguably say like my big first break came through them. I had a song called About You. Like before that, I had not really had any like really big successful songs, and that song like really opened a lot of doors for me after that.
Let me ask you. You just labeled it like successful. Like, can you give some examples of like what kind of opportunities and success you saw from like having a
Well,
release
I
like
would
that?
say like before I released that song, like I had not had any DJ support. Like nobody really knew about me except like my 400 followers on SoundCloud type beat.
Word.
And then when I signed that record with them, like Louis the Child and Alice in Wonderland
shit.
were like spinning that song in their sets,
So, hell yeah.
That's dope.
And then like Nathaniel gave me some really sound advice about like where I should go forward and how I should do shit. And they're really good people, and I will always be in debt for them for taking a chance on my music. I just had another release with them a couple months ago that was awesome too. They're just really cool people. They're definitely my favorite label and favorite people to work with.
Yeah. Do you have any dream collabs and labels that you still want to accomplish?
Yeah. Label wise, I've pretty much, I mean,
label wise,
Yeah.
house music wise,
Yeah.
you're also. It's a great portfolio, I think,
Yeah.
as a house music to be on Gold Digger, House Views. I don't know, maybe the Bow House.
I've tried with them. I mean, like the thing
In
is,
rotation, no, maybe.
I would love to
D&D.
be on in rotation.
Yeah, you see,
I
like
want-
now that you do have that portfolio with Insomniac, because in rotation is the imprint of Insomniac,
Totally.
bro. So like even including that DRL Insomniac show on that email, like hell yeah, bro. Like to see
Totally.
that-
I
see that
mean,
work in your favor.
here's the thing with labels. Like, it's hard. Like, it's what I've learned, with signing with labels is like every label is kind of curating a certain sound that they're putting forward. So like a lot of the time when you're sending shit to them, like I try to keep in mind, like when I make music, I don't like make things in terms of like, oh, I want to be on this label. It's just I'll listen through my catalog of unreleased and be like, okay, who's most likely going to be down with putting this out? Like, where does this song fit in terms of like the sound that all these labels are
Yeah, like you
pushing?
qualify and like you
Yeah,
understand like what you're understanding your product and what you think would be best for the home and shit.
totally, totally. I mean, it's hard because like when you're writing music, it's such a creative process, and then when you're trying to sell the music, it's an entirely different game. You know what I mean? So it's I mean, I don't know. I will tell you this. I've definitely like narrowed down. There's people that like I repeatedly work with a lot. Like I want to keep working with Jadu, love Gold Digger, and I love like House Fuse and all those guys. I wanted. I mean, I don't have any more. Like I pretty much hit a lot of like the releases, like people I would want to release with, like labels, not people. Sorry. Um, but I'm definitely leaning more towards now trying to like do a couple like 50% label releases, and then I want to do a lot more self releases because I'm really into like the art direction and like being in charge of how this song is like put out and how it's perceived. I feel like a lot of time when you're signing records, like you're kind of like signing a record, but then like they're in charge of like the
You're
promo
giving away
and
the creative
yeah,
rights and stuff.
and like the branding and the promo is a creative process in its own. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
100%.
And I'm kind of like a fucking freak about like being in charge of the whole product. So
I think as an artist, like you like should be as stubborn as fuck with like how your brand should be represented and like. Nah, bro. I don't think an artist should be stripped away from their creative rights. Like when it comes to like their music career, bro. Like
totally. I mean,
for sure. Like that's what makes the art, bro. Like it's the creative juices from the artist.
I mean, the last two releases I had in the contract that I was like, let me make the artwork and let me do the videos.
So it was a contract that you had sent back to them.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
word,
like,
nice.
can I? Well, because sometimes they have somebody in house that does it, and sometimes they're a little more lenient about like letting you do it if you ask them.
Right.
And I come from a filmmaking background, so a lot of like, I make all the edits and videos for my promos and shit. Like I've gone on like shot music videos for my shit, like done a lot of the visuals. All the visuals that I play behind me when I'm playing is like footage that I've shot and edited. Because I try to tell a story with my music, and like I want everything to be on brand, and I think a lot of that like bleeds into your music releases too.
No, for sure. I can also see that working a lot more too in your favor if you like have that leverage to even negotiate like because I do see sometimes with these contracts, especially like label contracts, like, it's like okay, like we need to make this much money back because we spent X amount on artwork and all that. And I feel like if you are able to present with the label, like, hey, like you don't got to spend X amount on artwork. I already got the artwork, so my threshold shouldn't be this high for me to like get a payout. I feel like those are things that you could definitely consider if you already have like assets for the label to work with. Like,
Yeah, totally.
I think it's very like it's a scary thing to kind of go about as a newer artist because you don't want to miss out on the opportunity with the label release too, right? So it's kind of like you always want, yeah. It's just negotiating can be a very it can get a little
Daunting
intimidating. I
feeling.
think sometimes when you're asking for certain demands and you're not necessarily like in the right playing or you have the leverage sometimes it's
Well,
like
it goes beyond also like I mean I look beyond just like what like I'm looking at the whole picture, right? When I'm signing with labels, I want to know like there's certain opportunities that I'll take because like I'll say like specifically like if the label is like throwing events a lot like or like has a big audience
for sure
or there's an opportunity for me to play, like I'm much more lenient with like releasing with that label because that could possibly lead to a show for me
because they have a history of, of putting their artists on
yeah.
shit, yeah.
Whereas like there's certain things that I'm willing to like compromise on because I'll be looking at the bigger picture in the sense that like like specifically I'll say like I love the Space Yacht guys and I love working with them. I've grown up going to Space Yacht shows and it's been a staple for me to work with them, but I also like I know that like if I work with them and I release with them, there's an opportunity down the line for me to play because they trust in my music and they love my shit enough like it might lead to a show. You know what I mean?
No, bro. I think that's a very key factor to look into with labels because a specific example happened to me where I had a label release, and I knew I wanted to have this label release with this platform because they were throwing shows, And because I did this label release with this label, they ended up considering me to be a part of their Lost Land stage takeover
Yeah,
in 2018. So it's like that investment I saw ahead of time. I'm like, hey, I could maybe because I could have maybe have had it shopped into some other labels. I probably would have still gotten like the play counts, but I probably wouldn't have gotten that opportunity to go play Lost Lands. And it's like those, it's just those things that you think about, like it's like investments of like your product being in a certain outlet, for sure. Like that's why many people want to release on Night Base.
totally.
Because Night Base is run by AC Slater, and he's AC Slater, I like to think, has the capital to throw events. Night Base is a foundation of a good portion of house music scene, dude. And I think that's like things that you don't think about as a newer artist. Like, okay, what more can this label do for me? Like, are they doing syncing? Are they able to put my music into film? Okay, like this label can do put my music into film and video games. There's like things that I didn't really like start asking about, like, because we just want to get the label recognition. When
Totally.
you're starting out, you just want to get that label on your plate. You want to get that gym badge out the way. Fuck it. And yeah, you just don't think about that like starting out until like you get your portfolio going. Like, oh, okay, like maybe now it's time to start dictating like how my portfolio is going from here on out.
Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of this industry is cosigns. So like whether it's labels or bigger artists playing your shit, you know what I mean? Like that technically, like that is what a lot of the big like label release stuff is. Like you're getting co-signed into like a place that people trust. You know?
Correct. Yeah.
But like I try to look at like I'm not like so much about like I mean, I care about like how much I'm, like what kind of percentage of the royalties and all that. But I'm also like, I try to look a little deeper than that in the sense that like, there's only a few outlets that are really like putting on the shows that are running this entire shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, how can you get into those circles and how can you.
Yeah, I think a lot of producers and artists have like particular priorities. If you're definitely that producer that wants to get shows, you're probably looking into labels that are throwing the shows. And if you don't care about like the labels that are throwing the shows, you care about labels that are giving you like the higher royalty split, then you're probably gonna look into like the labels that are giving you that like the higher royalty split versus the labels that are throwing the shows, but they're giving you 30/70 or and that's why and I hear you out when you say you make certain compromises to be able to like look into the bigger picture, like, oh, down the line, I'll probably will get a show out of it. Fuck it, the 30/70 road to split. I mean, it's whatever. Fuck it, but down the road, like, it will lead, I think, into a bigger opportunity.
Totally, and at the end of the day, it's not even like bad. It's like, okay, you're getting the cosign, but you're working with people that like do other shit, and you make this shit is all about relationships. Also, like, it's multifaceted, and you kind of have to be like really like particular and like methodical about like every aspect of this. When I first started like making music, like I was very like like I'm just gonna put out the shit that I want to do and like all, you know what I mean. And like I don't know if that makes any sense, but like when you're in this industry long enough, you kind of just have to be like really meticulous about everything that you do.
No, I think we definitely all understand. It's not just releasing whatever you want to release whenever you want to release it.
Yeah.
That's definitely not what this is. I wish it was. You feel me? Like I wish that was the game, but
totally,
it's a lot. It's music industry, and if you want to be in an industry, you kind of got to play by its rules a little bit, So it's all about finding how your sound fits in this industry, how you fit in the industry, and make your way in. I think.
Yeah, and how you like everybody's journey is unique in this shit. Like there's no one way to like do it or like make it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a journey with yourself. Like the same way that like you sit in front of your computer and make shit and nobody hears it, and then you play it for your friends, and you know what I mean. Like it's the same shit like on a career level,
And everyone's story should be different. Like it shouldn't be the same, It'd be weird if everyone's story was like, oh yeah, I did this and then I blew up. Like, oh, okay. Like that wouldn't be any fun, I don't think. Like it's and honestly, like all the little like hiccups and stuff we go through, like it bleeds out into like the music or how we promote our stuff. Like we learn from all like the dumb mistakes, or like I don't think I would have known how to fully release a track if I didn't just release a track. You know, like it just all comes with time. And like you said, like it took you a while to figure out like all
Yeah.
these things. You know, and you just got to do it. You know, and figure it out.
Yeah, and you figure out how you fit into like the whole community and scene. It really at the end of the day is like a community. Whether it's like really industry or you talking to other artists, like you just want to like, you know, be involved and figure out like and find your place in it and like be connected to others, you know.
And send emails.
Totally.
Yeah.
And show people your shit. Dude, everywhere I go, like anytime anybody tells me they produce music, I'm always like, dude, send me it. I want to hear it. Like I'm like you want to genuinely like be interested in like what other people are doing and hearing shit, because there's always a way that, you know, you never know who the fuck you're gonna listen to and be like, holy shit, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to festivals all the time and walk into random shit and like hear amazing stuff where I'm like, you know, I was like, I didn't even know who this person was, and this person just blew my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, send an email. Don't shove it to me in my face on a phone. Blast it
Yeah,
out there,
don't do
right?
that. No,
I'll be like, hey,
I
bro,
agree
just
with that
produce
one.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, bro, here you go.
I've
Fuck
gotten
it.
yeah, everybody's gotten those ones. I had somebody do that to me on Saturday.
I had someone do it for me one time.
I've had
I
people.
was like, bro, don't do that. Don't
Oh,
do
this
that
is
for
my boy
me.
Shaq. Look.
Yeah, bro, literally, I was like, that's the worst. Cause like, damn, bro, honestly, I appreciate you like vouching for me, but also that shit look kind of annoying. Like, I don't know, like I learned like not to do that shit.
Have you had people do it? I've had people do it while I was DJing.
Nah.
Somebody was drunk and came up to me and was like,
Nah.
then was like putting the fucking phone to my ear. I'm like, dude, I like it is blasting in here. I don't know. You just pretend to be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, play it next.
Yeah.
You don't play that shit at all.
Yeah, bro, but dude, you ready to get samples?
Let's do it.
Yeah, dude, for sure, bro.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, let's get to announcements, man. Or was there anything that you want to
Yeah.
ask Spacewalk about? Anything, Robert? Anything you have in your mind? Want to duke it out before we get to announcements?
Nah. Just thank you for coming through, bro.
Dude, thank you guys for having me, man.
Of course.
Yeah,
I'm
bro.
always down to come and fucking talk any kind of shit, like industry, music, anything. This is my life, so I'm fucking
Bro,
always down to talk about it, especially with other producers. And thank you for having me come play that Riverside show, man. I had a fucking blast at that shit.
Hell yeah,
Me and my
bro.
friends had a great time. Yeah, always down, dude.
Yeah, new music coming pretty soon in the next couple weeks or so.
Yeah, I'm figuring out my next single for next month. It's going to be a self-release. I had a bunch of label releases for the past few months. I've got a show on August 12th in Hollywood, opening for GTA.
Oh, good times ahead now, right?
It's a day party. It should be fun with Inertia. The Inertia events.
sick,
They're cool.
sick.
It's going to be a day party. That should be fun. And then that's pretty much it. Other than that, like, you know, I'm working shit out, and hopefully I'll have some more stuff to announce down the line.
For sure.
All right, bro.
Dope.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming through to the Lucid Temple Studio. It was real dope to learn about how you got into DJing, your process with production, your experience with labels and music production. It's been real tight to learn a lot about that, bro. Because we've only really just, really engaged and stuff through like shows and like only online, but to really just come down and to discuss and talk about like production and dance music and DJing. It's always real rad to talk about with each guest. Like it's always just like an awesome, unique experience with each and every guest, bro. And really glad that you'll be able to come out and do it, bro. And now we're one of the guest temples, bro. So I'm looking forward to that segment, dude.
Let's do it.
Yeah, thank you for coming through. Thanks to everyone that watched this episode. With our special guest Spacewalk, go ahead and follow him and subscribe.
Shout out
we have a YouTube channel.
Dubs. Shout out Runs with Turtles, and shout out to Compliment.
Oh yeah, if you guys are in the chat, let us know that you guys are in here. We want to know if you guys sticked it out to the end. We appreciate everyone that came through to the live stream on Twitch. We're gonna post this on our YouTube real soon, this upcoming week. Really excited for this episode. We're about to guest Tempo. Subscribe to your channel to stay updated. Give us a thumbs up on this episode if you guys liked it. And hit the bell alert button to stay notified. And we appreciate you guys' support. Follow us on Instagram at Lucid Tempo and everywhere else. let's get down to business, bro.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's face the tempo challenge.
All right.
See you guys next time.
Let's do
Yes,
it.
sir.
Peace.
Peace.